Welcome to the new year, everybody. So Natasha and I are going to try something different this year. We're going to do little videos because I'm dyslexic and I might produce more if I can just talk rather than write. So Natasha and I are just going to do quick little things that hopefully help people articulate the importance of fueling their body and taking care of their body and their power supply. So do you have anything you want to say for the new year, Natasha?
Welcome to 2023, everybody.
Yay. So for the last 2 years, I've been using continuous glucose monitors, and we'll go into a deeper dive at a later video on what that is. But basically that is a little fob that measures your blood glucose to your smartphone. And so you can really see how food and sleep and stress and exercise affect your blood glucose, which is the main fuel for our brain. And what I'm seeing is this is not uncommon when people come into my office. They come in and they say, I'm sure I'm ADHD. I'm really anxious. Like I've tried meds or I haven't tried meds. I mean, you know, the stories are all different. But when this kind of line comes up, what I know is that they're hypoglycemic most of the day, like medically hypoglycemic most of the day. And when your blood glucose is below 70, you feel like crap because there's a lot of adrenaline in the system. And we have this happen to us all the time. And you can see that this person is waking up when she gets hypoglycemic. And so we had her adjust her food. She was eating. She actually had, many people have a pretty decent diet, but it's not frequent enough or high enough protein. And so we adjusted that, and 11 days later, the anxiety's down, the distraction is down, the fatigue is improving, and it took 11 days.
And sleep is better?
Sleep is better, right? Sleeping through the night because the not getting hypoglycemic, right? And most importantly is like the self-doubt. She really was comforted by the fact that she wasn't making it up, that it was really hard. Everybody's going to struggle when their blood glucose is that low. Everybody. And so I wanted to just dive a little bit into the physiology on what we know. And this is like standard medical information, right? What we know is there's a pretty narrow window that we function well with our blood glucose, right? 70 is kind of the general bottom line physiologically for everybody. And then, between 90 and 100 is kind of a good place to be. That can scale. That green zone can actually move. So I have had executive men and women who have high stress, like really intellectually driven all day long, and their low glucose alert value is 90. And if they drop below 90, they get an adrenaline hit. And so, and they're like, right? And so we needed to work with their diet to lower that. But I'm just saying that, like, just because you're panicking at 80 may be your physiological tolerance, but standard protocol, every medical professional agrees that if you're below 70, you're struggling. The first thing as you start to get to your low value is you're probably going to experience a little bit of fatigue, right? And I always go back to what's the difference between fatigue and depression? Like, it's really hard to sort out. The internal critic shows up. Okay, we'll call that depression. Suicidal ideation, we'll call that depression. But like being too tired to get off the couch, maybe that's depression, but I'm going to start with fatigue. 4 cups of coffee a day, I'm going to call that fatigue. But after we get fatigued, as our blood glucose drops, then we're going to get anxiety, irritation really quickly. And then we get not hungry. So people come in all the time and they're like, but I'm not hungry in the day. So like, I must not be hypoglycemic. Look, there's a very narrow band in which our brain's going to register that anxiety and irritation. And often people are associated with something external to themselves rather than internal. Well, it was that email that I got, or that I had to talk to my mother, or whatever. and they miss it, and then they're not hungry because we don't get hungry when we're running from the bear. And for eons, if we had adrenaline in the system, it was usually because something was trying to kill us. And so no need to be hungry, right? And then we start getting the tremors. Some people are complaining tremors or really cold hands and feet, increased heart rate. And that's because of the hormones that are going on. If we continue to let it go, we're going to start seeing increasing exhaustion and disassociation, right? And we could be labeling that with PTSD, but it could also be, as we saw with that one person, that their blood glucose was below 50. Okay, yeah, they're distracted and they can't pay attention and maybe disassociative and pretty agitated. Well, that physiologically makes sense. That's all accurate, right? And then sometimes I see people who are getting into headaches and tremors and backaches and blurry vision and muscle cramps. And again, for me, when I get hypoglycemic, my vision goes really quickly because I have TBI in that neuronet. And so I can tell how my eyes are doing if my blood glucose is getting too low. So there, you can change these individually. The flip side of that is if our blood glucose is too high all the time, so it's averaging above 100, we're starting to lean into prediabetes, we're starting to get more inflammation. And then once we're in the like 120 ranges, we're fully into diabetic and inflammation, which then also has us increase the rate of depression and anxiety because not only of glucose, but also inflammation. So that's my quick like learning for the day. And hopefully that's helpful. If it is helpful and you like these videos, please email us what you learned or what you want, because we can do more of these pretty easily. Have a great January. Natasha will talk more. I kind of dominated, but she's also going to tell stories, and we're going to have fun this year. Okay, take care.
Take care, everybody.